Khurtsidze, I can pronounce his name probably. He's a tough guy, very tough guy. You see, he's strong and comes to wear his opponents down. And unfortunately, Tommy's game plan just didn't work. He is Bill's mandatory, and we're looking to put that fight on in London on the 8th of June. Sorry, 8th of July. 8th of July. And we've got to just finalise a couple of bits and pieces with his team, and hopefully we'll get it on.
Whereabouts in London will that be, Frank?
We've got 2 venues on hold. One is the Copper Box, and we're trying to get another venue, which is a bigger one. But obviously, we just want to get Bill out. Bill's been sitting around for a year now, being sodded around by different people who agreed fights, and then they've not happened for various reasons. And whatever happens, he needs that fight, and hopefully, and don't want to be counting out chickens, he comes through that, he'll be in a fantastic position to actually fight in the unification.
All right, Bill.
All right, mate.
What did you make of Avtandil Khurtsidze tonight?
Listen, to me, he's he's very readable. I mean, you can shut your eyes and hear him coming, but I just think that Tommy Langford just was planting his feet and letting his hands go a little bit too much. Where I thought he should have been a little bit more up and on his feet, and making him miss, and because that fella, he was tired and gassing. It's only the 4th, 5th round, was it? 5th round? He was gassing. But listen, it's boxing. He caught Tommy with a good shot. He's not to be overlooked. He's not to be misjudged. He come to do what he does, win. He's won a few by knockout. He lives up to the name Mike Tyson, but it's very far in between. To be honest, I said it earlier on. He's Danny DeVito, the size of him. If I can't beat him, I don't deserve to be in these big unification fights. Simple as that. He's my mandatory. He's the one I've got to deal with. So get him out of the way, and we'll see if Golovkin then can find his pen or one of the big ones.
Were you expecting to be Tommy Langford to come through this tonight?
I was 50-50 really. I mean, Tommy Langford, his art's not been tested. His chin, to be fair, has not been tested as of yet, and he's yet to have that big fight to deal with the pressure that if he would have won tonight, he would have been mandatory for a world title. That's all pressure. We got cut in the 1st round, and I'm sure he'll come again. But I didn't really watch much of this Khurtsidze, so I thought it'd probably be a 50-50. But when I watched the 1st and 2nd round, I thought Tommy could win the fight, and I fancied him favourite from the 3rd onwards until he got called.
Frank, you must be bitterly disappointed not to be making Langford and Billy Joe, I guess, now. So
exactly, and actually, as Bill said, that's how I see the fight. I thought, he had the 1st round, 2nd round. He was still there, but then I thought Tommy was sort of settling himself down and getting his jab going and moving. It weren't to be, and there would be nothing better than an all British or an all domestic world title fight. It would have been a fantastic fight, but that's business, that's show business, as they say. And at the end of the day, the fella come to the other guy's backyard and he won, and he done it in style. So now he's now got the shot at Bill.
Do you think the fight's a harder sell with it not being the all British world title fight that you discussed just then?
I mean, if he was Bill's mandatory, and Bill was actually going to have to fight him. But what happened, as we said, was we had this Golovkin fight, and all the terms were agreed, and then Golovkin, after his fight with Jacobs, is not available now. In some ways, at least now the public know who he is. We'd be selling some guy from Georgia, and nobody would really know outside of the real boxing fans who he is. Now they know who he is.
Bill, do you get the fear factor from Khurtsidze? Having watched him tonight, does he inspire you to want to put on a full show and get to grips with him?
Listen, I think when you're world champion, every time you get in the ring is a fear factor, and especially my last performance, terrible, but not really. Nobody, to be honest, puts the fear factor in me. It's just I'm a fighter. That's what I like to do. He's good, he's strong, isn't he? That's all he's got. Take away his power, take away some swings. He's the only boxer I know who hasn't got a jab. So, it's one of them. Not overlooking him or talking him down, because he's obviously very dangerous. But that aside, a good-minded boxer, even Nassam Nadam, I think he beat him. He's a southpaw, he's a good mover, and I think he beat him comfortable. So, I'm not going on that, but you know, if I come in right, I personally think in my own head that I'm the best middleweight on the planet, as long as I come in right 100%. So I don't see why I should be feared from him.
It was 7 years since he boxed Hassan and Damson. He has sort of developed as a fighter since. He's been on a good run.
He's got wins. He's got a lot of wins under his belt.
Yeah, you know, he's been in with some good men, hasn't he? So listen, like I say, I'm not here running him down, but I'm just picking my faults. There's plenty of good things I can say about him. He's a good puncher. He's got a good chin. He's will to win. He's very upfront. You know, he's same as he's got plenty of bottles. So, you know, you put all that in, it makes a good fighter, and it showed tonight.
Coming back to Tommy a little bit, Frank, as well. Obviously, some ringsiders thought that the referee maybe stepped in that a little bit too early.
Not at all. No, the referee was spot on.
Tommy was very, very. We see a lot of accidents in boxing, and to be honest with you, if it was a son of mine in there, I would shake the referee's hand and say good job, because
he got it spot on.
He did,
and we want Tommy to win. But at the end of the day, his health is more important. And of course, he wanted to go on. Who wouldn't want to fight on? That's what fighters do. And that's what the referee's there, is to protect them from themselves. He was gone, he was wobbling, I don't think he fully recovered. And that fellow would have, the way he fights, would have jumped straight on him, and I think he would have taken unnecessary punishment.
Yeah. Obviously, Billy Joe as well. Triple G, how much does it rankle with you? You're not quite managed to get that fight over the line, having, you know, he's been here as well, hasn't he? He's been to England as well. That's the strange thing about it, isn't it? But he doesn't seem to quite want to get it on with himself, does he? So
I think a lot of people look at me, I'm a belt, they look at my belt, think it's an easy target, you know, but I think deep down in their own head they realise that I'm a nightmare for me stance, me, you know, what I bring to the table. I'm not one of them, I stand in front of them and have a punch, I've got a chin, touch me and I go over, I've got a good chin, I've got plenty of art, and I come to fight. And I also got probably one of the bestest boxing skills in Britain at the minute. You know, put that on display, there's not a lot of people want to go near that. You know, Eubank, Canelo, Golovkin, you know, he kept saying it was his dream fight. He's had his chance to sign it. He didn't. So now I'm put forward, now I'm a mandatory. I like to fight that. You know what? It might even do me good to fight him. You know, shake a bit of ring rust back off again. Get back in there, get, you know, all some of my tools up, get ready for the big one. It's a blessing in disguise maybe. Not overlooking him. He's got to be beat. He's not going to come here and lay down. I know I've got to work hard to do that as well. And that's what I'm willing to do.
Bill, do you believe that Golovkin is waiting on the outcome of Canelo versus Chavez Jr. before he commits to his next decision?
Well, it's not about him committing to the next thing. Him committing. The one who's in the driving seat is Canelo. He's the big attraction in America, and at the end of the day, it's going to be his decision on what terms he wants to fight Golovkin.
My opinion is that what Canelo is doing is using Golovkin's name as a draw for the. He's using Golovkin's name as a draw for the Chavez fight. You know, they're saying if he comes through this, he's going to fight Golovkin. So people are watching that fight closely. Sue wins. It's a good fight, but what people need to realise, it was only 6 months ago that he vacated his WBC middleweight title instead of fighting him. So what's changed in 6 months? Not his bank account, definitely, because he's got plenty of money. Not his art, that's definitely for sure. Because let's face it, Frank can sit in and call me like everybody's put in front of me. I've done, signed, ready to fight. I've never said no to nobody. I'll fight anybody. And they say Golovkin's the best. I want to test myself. I'm 27 now. I want to be out of boxing time. I'm 30, 31. Let's see if I'm good enough to go on. If I'm not good enough to beat him, I'll get out the ring and shake his hand. But I know there's something inside me that I could definitely cause a big upset.
Watching the Danny Jacobs fight against Golovkin, was there anything that you saw that makes you confident?
Not really. There's stuff I've seen years ago, you know, but I kept to myself. That I knew that he was, you know, an animal. But I said to people that I wanted 18 months to 2 years, not because I wanted to get better, because I wanted to mature a little bit. You know, not that I needed more experience. I've been to Olympic Games at 18 and, you know, boxed all around the world, 24 pro fights. I just wanted that, let him get that little bit more older and me get that little bit more stronger. And I believe that the time has come now. You can't beat time in boxing, and I believe it's my time.
Alex, who from looking after the Lou DeBella's Entertainment's representing him over here. So as I say, we're talking about the 8th of July, getting it on over here. We've got some dots and I's and things to agree, and we will, crossing T's to do. We'll get that done, and that's the date we want to go. Fight Bill's ready to go. And that's where we are.
Well, let me just say first of all, and Khurtsidze will be up here in a second. I know you guys would rather hear from him than from myself. First of all, this fight, the event itself, Khurtsidze versus Langford, was the result of a lot of collaboration. A lot of collaboration between Queensberry Promotions, between DeBell Entertainment, between Lou and Frank and myself and George, and it was a lot of time and a lot of effort. And so I just want to thank first of all Frank and George and Andy and Bianca and Dan and everyone from Queensberry for putting this on, letting us come over here, giving us the chance, and giving Khurtsidze the opportunity to shine. With regards to fighting Billy Joe, obviously we're the mandatory now. So
Congratulations, Jan. Congratulations. Thank
just want to say, this was, with regards to the mandatory, as Frank said, there's some details to finalize. I know that on his end, they made a deal to fight. Billy made a deal to fight Golovkin. I know that's something they still want to pursue, but obviously, we came here to fight for the interim title. Avtandil came here to fight for the interim title because he wanted to be the mandatory challenger to Billy Joe. So I know it's an opportunity that he relishes. It was a great experience over here. Obviously, the result that we came here. And again, I just want to thank Frank and his entity for allowing this to happen. Having the sort of the collaborative spirit to make it happen. And look forward to working with him in the future on fights like this. So, WBO interim champion, Avtandil Khurtsidze.
Avtand.
And his trainer, Andre Rosier.
Gary, trainer too.
And Sergey.
Mike, Sergey,
And Mike.
Mike.
And Joseph.
Avtandil, I know your English is not great.
No,
Can you just tell me the English in the English your thoughts on this evening?
Here, hold on.
Ah,
Sergey, come here, my man.
I will try.
okay, please do. Do you want to come just behind it? Because you're at the camera shot there. Could you just relay to us Avtandil's thoughts on his performance tonight and how he did?
Свои подготовки и форме своей физической. Ты был готов, как ты был готов.
Ну, я сделал то, что смог за это время, но я был готов. Я доценил этот соперник. Может, он меня смотрит, что я не сильный боксер. Я смотрел, что он хороший боксер технически. Я был готов за него.
So, have a good camp, have a good opportunity for him. So he do that. He watch many fights. He learn him. He know he work in the body, so catch him like left or right. So you see how do that. So and that's it. Simple.
Okay. Can you also ask Avtandil for his thoughts on Billy Joe and the big pig fight they're going to have now?
With him?
Yes.
Насчет боя с ним ты готов?
Сегодня спросил.
Today?
Obviously, he's got Billy Joe coming up, and so on. His thoughts.
He's a joke.
All right. Okay. Sorry. We don't have a sense of humour in Leicester, sadly. So.
Ну, конечно, я профессиональный боксер, это для меня это моя работа, конечно. Если не сейчас, буду для него готов, будет время озвучить, я буду готов.
Of course, he ready. This is his job, so he come here for that.
Andre, your thoughts as well on your man and so on. What you said was going to happen happened, didn't it?
Well, basically, what we were watching before this fight ever came to pass, I didn't know who Tommy Langford was. We had to do some studying, and I was telling my big brother Gary over there, I said, I don't know who this guy is. And he says, well, I'm going to look him up, and so on and so forth. And in my opinion, what we look forward to, being that we happen to house so many middleweights in our farm system, is this young man right here, who we've been looking to fight against with Danny Jacobs and Avtandil and Sergey, and the list can go on and on. But when Tommy came up, we started taking a look at him, and I said, well, I don't even think this kid should be in the ring with Avtandil, but it's an assignment. It's what's been put on the table, and we had to take advantage of the moment, and this was the end result tonight.
Okay, your thoughts on Billy Joe as well? You must have done a lot of studying in the same way for him.
Well, I mean, I saw Billy when he fought Andy Lee, and in my honest opinion, I know he's been suffering from some injuries, and it's rough in the game of boxing, and he hasn't fought a lot, and
That's what you think. I'm fighting in the pub every week.
okay, well, I'm gonna add each of the pub fights. I'll put 4 together, and that'll be another bout. But I really like to see, because he's a southpaw boxer, and when I was fighting, I was a southpaw fighter, and he needs to be fighting so he can stay sharp and relevant. He's a world